And we're back. It's the Cup of Joe show, number 4, I think. I am Joe. This is Jeremy, Duke Mish, SSJ Rem, and we are brought to you by Snapple. We got our first sponsor, Snapple, so I will drink.
Give us some money,
Snapple. Yep. We're not really sponsored, but maybe they'll watch this and sponsor us. All right. So we're back after a week, which brought us some movies, and there are some upcoming movies. And we did, in fact, see a movie. That's what we do here. We do all those things, and we'll tell you about it. So, I mean, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the movie that we saw?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Let's dive right in.
All right. We saw Gravity. Gravity, see? Gravity, it works. I don't know what that was, but anyway. Starring Sandra Bullock, George Clooney. This movie that is a hit, I guess.
Big time.
So set the October record for biggest box office opening, and just got great reviews, great word of mouth, all over the board. So we went to see it, even though we didn't really want to, because we thought it would be terrible. And it turned out it didn't live up to the hype that everyone gave it. I think that it was visually interesting. I say visually interesting because I didn't think it was visually striking. I thought it was visually interesting. Avatar was visually striking. In Avatar, I was like, whoa, this is great. Gravity, it didn't do that for me, but it was visually nice. I didn't think it was visually whoa. I mean, maybe if I saw it in IMAX, I think that's a movie you have to see in a legitimate IMAX, and then it would be better. But, I mean, we'll get to that. I just want to start, give a quick Sandra Bullock. I didn't think she was that good. I thought the most interesting character in the movie was George Clooney. And I can't go any farther than that because it'll spoil. But I didn't think. I have no problem with Sandra Bullock. I think she's a fine actress.
She looks good for almost 50.
She definitely looks good. She keeps her body in great shape. But this movie just didn't work for me, other than the fact that it was visually nice.
Yeah, in the week since seeing it, I've just thought more and more about it, and it has just stewed and just festered within my mind. And the more and more I've thought about it over the past week, the more and more I realize I just didn't like it. The visuals were kind of cool, and that was about it. I really didn't like anything else about the movie. I thought it did an extremely poor job of making you actually care about the characters. And, okay, big time spoiler warning. I'm just going to go into this. So just cover your ears or mute this or something. But George Clooney dies. Yeah. Like 20 minutes, a half hour into the movie, and then it's just Sandra Bullock. And in this particular project, she just completely fails to carry it by herself. And it's just not that interesting. And there's absolutely no connection with her character. She has this backstory thing where her daughter died and everything, but the movie is so short, you never get a chance to care about her and what her story is. There's just no connection there. So, it's like, I mean, maybe it was me, but it's not that I wasn't rooting for her, it's just that I had a hard time doing so because I didn't know her that well, and it was just really poorly handled. And people across the internet are saying Gravity is this intelligent special effects movie, but it's really not, because it's the special effects, and the plot is just an excuse to have the special effects, like Transformers. Honestly, I mean, true. I'm not. Honestly, the Transformers movies are much more interesting. I connected more to Optimus Prime than I did to Sandra Bullock in Gravity. Honestly. So
I'm gonna
that's
tweet
my
that.
That's my rant.
I'm gonna tweet that. I think that's a great analogy. I agree with everything that you just said, and I swear we're gonna disagree on a movie eventually. And it's gonna make for great debate. But I'm sorry, like you said, the character development, there was no character development, and like I said, I think George Clooney was the most interesting character in the film.
He was good. He was
right.
Good. I
yeah,
will admit that.
Because I think that because he was a character, like he brought something to it
he had
that
charisma.
like he had exactly he had charisma, and there I felt more like it was a movie when he was in it than when spoiler, he left it. I think that everyone probably knows that he does eventually leave the movie. Yeah. I think, but it's just you lose that, and then I finally get to overacting. Sandra Bullock, she did it, and it was laughable. There was one scene that was just laughable, and if you watch it, you'll know what it is because it's bad, unless you're one of these people that. I hate to sound so, into myself, like I'm smarter than you, but it's just I don't understand why people think it was so great. It wasn't. It doesn't have things that a movie needs to have. Character development. Like you said, it was an hour and a half, maybe. Yeah. It was short. They threw these people at you and didn't tell you anything about them. And you're supposed to care. This is a movie you have to build. It needs to be longer. There needs to be more character development. There needs to be more plot development. You understand the plot. They get hit and they're stuck in space, but that's all there is. There's no. There's nothing. Yeah. There wasn't, enough for me to make a movie there. It just happened to me.
I think it would have been better if it just didn't take itself so seriously and try to pass itself off as this. Heavy cerebral adult film when it's just a popcorn movie with some cool special effects. That's it, and it's just pretending to be this smart movie that it's not. Mm-hmm. And Transformers was better.
I totally agree with that. Transformers was much more entertaining and just
And Transformers didn't take itself seriously.
Right, exactly.
If Gravity just did that and just had tons of special effects and just some kooky characters up in space, it would have been more entertaining.
That's true. That's very true. If I haven't put a review up yet on cupofjoe.com, but I would say if you're gonna see the movie, you better see it in theaters. That's why I find it difficult to kind of rate. I don't want to give it 3 cups. That gives you a go to see it. I don't really, so I'm gonna give it. No, I will give it 3 cups. Go see it, but watch this first and then go see it, and then I think you'll have a better. You'll kind of get it instead of falling into this trap where everyone's just like, "Oh my God, this is great." So I don't know. I sounded way into myself, didn't I?
You are into yourself.
I am very into myself, so it reflects my character, which the movie was. Rid of! Didn't have it! Alright.
That took a while.
It did take a while. We both have very strong feelings about movies sometimes. I talked longer, I'm sorry, which usually happens, which also reflects my character! Alright. So now let's move on. Let's let you talk. Take us through last weekend's box office. How some movies did.
Alright, well, let me get my notes here. See, even the best broadcasters need notes. They just put them off camera.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, speaking of Gravity, the movie is an absolute bona fide sensation at the box office. It slipped only 23% and made $43 million. And that for being in October, for opening over $50 million and not having a holiday to boost it. Well, technically there was Columbus Day, but that's maybe 2%. Right. That doesn't really do anything. Right. And it now has a total of 123. That is a fantastic second weekend, and as Joe and I just went into for 6 minutes, we don't understand.
Right.
I don't understand what everyone sees in it, and looking at the reviews and Rotten Tomatoes and everything, the lowest anybody gave it is 2.5 or 3 stars, and I'm blown away that there's not that one guy that one guy who gave it like 1 or 2 stars and just hated it. Like usually that happens with pretty much anything, but not with this. And still haven't heard anything but like rapturous word of mouth, and it as you can see, it held well in its second weekend. But when Joe and I went to see it, there were these annoying old ladies to the left of us, and they were laughing at it and just. They would not shut up the entire movie, so I don't think they enjoyed it. So that makes like 6 people in the world who did not enjoy Gravity. Anyway, enough about Gravity. Did you have something to say?
Something tells me. All right, just one quick thing. What is up with Sandra Bullock getting these like late in the year box office hits? Like, my gosh, didn't she win an Oscar for The Blind Side too? My God.
I'm not going to go into my Blind Side thoughts.
Yes, and be afraid. Watch, she'll like win an Oscar for Gravity or something.
I would be pissed.
I know, but it shouldn't happen. But after it happened to The Blind Side, I don't know if I would. Okay, first of all, I loved The Blind Side. He didn't. All right, that's our disagreement. We're not going to get into it because we're already 11 minutes into the show, and I've already talked too much. I'm sorry. Continue.
Okay. Number 2 went to Captain Phillips with a $25.7 million opening. That it's in the shadow of the hit that is Gravity, but that in itself is a very, very solid opening. It's also a well-reviewed, well-received film, and could find its way over $100 million ultimately, which Joe and I are going to see after the show.
Right after the show, yes.
Okay, and then number 3 was Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. $13.8 million, down 34% for a $77.6 million total. Continues to fall off the pace of the first Cloudy, still doing well, should still find its way to about $100 million, but this will probably be the end of that franchise. Mm-hmm. And then in 4th place, we fall off down to $3.8 million for the debut of Machete Kills. That's quite a bit less than the first one, which wasn't that successful in the first place, and these types of movies just appeal to a very specific group of people who like that insanely over-the-top grindhouse thing. And I hate to sound pretentious, but I just don't think that most people get it. I just don't think that most people get that like Machete and Death Proof and Planet Terror are parodies, and they're not serious. But anyway, and then in 5th place, Runner, down 51%, also $3.8 million, $14.2 million total. It's a flop. Who really cares?
We don't know why it was made, but it was. So what's the most shocking about last? Is it the Gravity hold, or do you think Captain Phillips did pretty well against the extravaganza?
Well, I mean, the thing that's impressive is that the audiences for Gravity and Captain Phillips are basically the same. Older adults that don't typically get that many movies that come out for them, especially at the same time like this. So it's very impressive that the market was able to expand to accommodate both films. But yeah, the hold of Gravity is remarkable. I mean, judging it might end up with $250 million when all is said and done, because it really doesn't have. I mean, it already showed that it can, hold well even in the face of Captain Phillips, and it doesn't have that much competition in the weeks to come. So,
in what you've seen, I'm sorry, I'm asking you questions.
No, go right ahead.
And in what you've seen, like, did anybody predict this from Gravity?
I mean, there was a lot of internet hype, but I mean, most of the higher end predictions that I read about were hopes. People who saw the trailer and for whatever reason got really hyped up about it, which was basically everyone except us, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, hoped that it could catch on, but nobody thought it was going to be this successful. A lot of people thought it would be a critical darling, but that wouldn't really catch on with general audiences, and it has.
Quick shout out to Dan Byron if you're out there watching this show. Thank you for, showing us this trailer and laughing with us, because you are one of the only people that agree with us. Of course, who knows? He may have seen the movie and thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's possible.
Who knows? But anyway, moving on. Upcoming films this weekend. we've got Carrie. Let's start with Carrie. I'm going to let you start with that one.
Okay, Carrie is yet another remake of the classic Stephen King novel about a bullied, oppressed girl with a crazy religious fanatic mother who ends up developing telekinetic powers. Although I think the proper term is actually psychokinetic.
Oh.
But anyway, she moves stuff with her mind. Let's just say that.
Right.
And she's bullied and stuff, and people give her a hard time. And I think everyone pretty much knows the story now. Prom is a disaster, and she just goes crazy with her powers, and yeah. So that's Carrie. The eponymous character is played by Chloe Grace Moretz, who people might know as Hit Girl from Kick-Ass. She's a talented young actress, and I think she could pull off. The reviews are not terrible for the genre. What was it, like 45%? Yeah, so that's not bad. And as the only horror movie that's actually going to be out around Halloween, it should do all right.
Yeah, I mean, Chloe is great. I mean, she is really, like you said, she's a talented young actress.
You should see Hugo.
Apparently, yes. Yeah, I really should, actually.
Even though she's not the main character,
but still. But, you know, I think this could do decently well, at least, you know. Yeah. I think people have an interest in it. I hear people talking about it. They really want to see it. So that could go places, I think. We can move on to, the Fifth Estate. I really don't think this is going to do anything, to be honest with you. But I am interested in the topic. I really like Benedict Cumberbatch. I think he's a really good actor, and I'm interested in the WikiLeaks because I don't know much about. I know the basic, you know, story, but like I'd be interested in more in-depth things. But looking at the ratings, 36% at Rotten Tomatoes, that's not good, and that's not what you like to see for a film like this. I would have liked to have seen something in maybe at least the 70s, some good reviews coming out. Much like I wanted to see with Jobs earlier in this. Yeah, that movie happened. But I don't know. That makes I still want to see it, but that scares me. That rating scares me there. So, but I like Benedict, and I still want to see that one. Final movie, The Escape Plan.
Yes.
Take it away, Jeremy.
Alright, Escape Plan is pretty much the first proper team-up of Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, you know, kind of teamed up in the Expendables movies, but this time it's just those two, and, you know, Schwarzenegger isn't just doing a glorified cameo like he did in the Expendables movies. And Sly Stallone plays a guy who gets paid to break out of prisons to test their security systems, but then he gets in a super advanced prison and has to escape, which is what he does. And I guess he needs Schwarzenegger's help. And that's pretty much the movie.
Yeah, like it looks like it'll be entertaining, just like you know, the other films that they're in. I mean, not as entertaining as The Expendables. I'm just hoping. I wouldn't mind seeing this. I don't know if I'm going to go see this movie, but I wouldn't mind kind of seeing this on TV. I would hope that it would be better than Bullet to the Head and The Last Stand, which just didn't work for those two. So, but as far as movies, that's about it for the upcoming weekend. Go see a movie tonight. Also, you could catch the box office info from Jeremy, his wrap-ups and predictions at cupofjoe.com. You could also see the latest reviews and whatever else we decide to put up there about movies. You could watch this show. It's kind of stupid because you'd be watching it now, but you can do that. So
also, if you are watching on YouTube, you should subscribe.
Subscribe! Great idea.
I don't know where the subscribe button would be. It would probably be either here or there, but you should click on it and subscribe to us.
Yes, exactly. And once again, our sponsor, Snapple. I can't get it right on the screen, but Snapple is our
Made
sponsor.
from the best stuff on earth.
That's there you go. There you go. So that's all we have this week. Join us next week for our show. a Halloween edition.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Hopefully next week's won't be 20 minutes long.
Yes.
We have a lot of thoughts about
that'd
gravity.
be good. 1 second. 20 minutes. There it is. Have a good week, guys.